Greetings, travelers. The following episode is of listener tales. Now, we do not read these ahead of time, so listener discretion is advised. Hello, I'm author Mark Muncy.
And I'm author Erika Lance.
And this is Eerie Travels. Greetings, travelers.
Greetings, travelers, in our Nightmare November.
Oh, yeah, Nightmare November continues. Yes, I love it. So,
okay, I love that you actually did that with me this time because
I've been trying. I'm kind of having fun. That whole episode we did on horror hosts has revived this love of horror hosts in me. So I may fool around with that. I'm not saying anything right now, not making any announcements, but the caretaker might return from Hellview at some point.
So. I think that I have to come up with a horror host character. Then we could talk about books or movies. Anyway.
Oh yeah, that'd be good.
That would be so much fun. Okay. Side note.
All right, listeners out there, leave us comments if you would like Erika and I's takes on movie reviews and book reviews. To be actually a separate thing than this, instead of where we work it into this every once in a while.
Yeah, no, but absolutely. Okay.
This is a Nightmare November special episode, right?
Yes, a very special episode because we just get inundated, which we love, with listener questions and stories. So we thought we'd run a little special to say thank you to you guys and answer your questions and read your stories.
And we get so much feedback on these that you people love them. So we are happy to do more and more of these because, to be honest, hey, less work for me on research. But
that is not what we get out of this.
The real reason is this gives me more places to research and more things to do. So I'm very happy. So we will do a few listener questions, and then we'll do a couple listener tales, one or two listener tales, and then we'll break and we'll come back. We have so many listener tales. We're gonna do the whole second half will be listener tales.
Absolutely. Okay. Do you want to begin or do you want me to begin?
Let's just jump right in. No breaking news. Let's go right into this. You go right ahead.
Okay, so this first listener question is from Brandy. Well, hello, Brandy.
Hi, Brandy.
Oh, she says, greetings, travelers.
Greetings.
Have you all or anyone you know been seeing lots of black shadows recently? Are black things running out or flying in front of you while driving, or is it just me?
Oh.
Well, Brandy, I think this got sent to us in October. And I'm going to say that it was just a crazy month, and me and Mark have talked about it a little bit. For me, at least, I think that the veil being so thin, lots of weird stuff was happening everywhere. That's my take.
Yeah,
Mark, your thoughts?
Email, listener tales from Black Hat Men, the Hat Man. We've been getting some shadow figures and shadow people. One of the stories in Eerie, Appalachia was a fun story a family sent me. They were moonshiners, and they decided to kick up their moonshine a little bit by mixing in a few ingredients that Granny said would cause things to be a little interesting. And what they didn't realize is Granny was basically an Appalachian witch. So she fun stuff to mix in with that stuff. They never did tell me exactly what the ingredient was because, hey, they don't want to give away a trade secret. It worked. They had a great time, and the whole family came over for a big get-together. But while they were doing it, they would see shapes running around out of the corners of their vision, little tiny black things. And they thought it was rats or, other things. So they started getting scared of them. And that's when they got close to them and they realized this is scary. These are things. And one of the guys described it as it basically looked like the head of Venom from the comic books rolling around with just this oily teeth and oily eyes. They were terrified of it. They caught one of them in a bag and they reached in to try to grab it. And the guy screams, it bites, it bites. So that's what they wind up calling those, is they call those shapes, those shadows, it bites.
I don't like any of that.
No, it was terrifying. I think Carrie's illustration of it's pretty amazing in the book, if I do say so myself. And the guy was like, hell yeah, that's it. And what was funny, about 2 weeks after they emailed me that, and I was writing it in the book, they called me up and said, we're going to jail. So the feds busted us. And then as the book came out, I got another call from them. Well, we're out of the jail and we're back at it. So ain't using none of Granny's kicker, but we're enjoying it. So
that is hysterical.
Western Pennsylvania, gang. Western Pennsylvania.
You gotta love it. You love it. Okay.
All right.
Your next one.
This one was sent directly to me, and it says, so is there anything in the Appalachians I should be worried about when it comes to hearing a whistle?
Ooh.
There is a neighborhood dog that likes to hang out on my porch. Roughly 15 minutes ago, she was sound asleep on my porch and something startled her awake. She started barking at the same patch of woods behind the trailer across the street from me. She'd been barking on and off since 11:30. She jumped up and ran into the woods. I've been watching on my camera, and as soon as she hit the backside of the trailer, she just stopped barking. Worried about her, I went outside and tried calling her back. It was completely silent. Then all of a sudden, I hear whistling, like someone trying to call a dog coming from the woods. Yeah, I went back right in after that. I know there are things you don't mess with in the mountains. I watched my camera to make sure she came back, and she did less than a minute later. Tracy T. So the question is there anything in the woods I should be worried about when it comes to hearing a whistle? Yes.
Yes. Super yes. Tracy. Super yes.
The hide behind. You've got a few other things that like to imitate whistling sounds. Now the least of which is, just like mockingbirds and some other things like that, which might lead you off of something, they're up in a tree and you might be trying to go out to them and fall off a cliff or something. So you just got to be careful out in the woods. But whistling, there are some folklore reasons you don't do it too. So
yeah, there are some potentially very gnarly things out in the woods. So I would heavily recommend that you do not respond and do not go in that direction. That is my official recommendation.
Yeah, that would be that's a big nope from Erika.
Yep, it's a big nope. That is the recommendation from the Eerie Travel Show.
I would say also, if it does continue, let us know. We'd be happy to, see if we can get somebody out your way to, investigate the property and stuff. So
yeah, no, absolutely. Because if it does continue, it is probably something you might want looked into.
Yeah, could be, any
no.
manner of spirit or deviation. So
telling you, Appalachians scare the crap out of me. Okay, next one. This is from Frank. Oh, hello, Frank.
Hello, Frank.
Friday afternoon around 4 p.m., while my cousin and I were hunting near Smithsburg, West Virginia, we witnessed a white tic-tac shaped UFO flying above us at an altitude of approximately 2,000 feet. The sight was awe-inspiring, and we were amazed by the object's slow and steady flight. We even wondered where the wings were. The UFO continued to fly until it disappeared over the horizon. Do you know anyone else who witnessed this phenomena? I did report it to MUFON like you suggested. Is there anywhere else I should report it?
Wow, thanks,
Wait
Frank.
a minute. Didn't we have a previous listener tale that described this, but it was not in West Virginia? It was near there, though. I thought there was another listener tale that brought this up previously.
I will have to go into the Wayback Machine and see, but I do not recall that off the top of my head. I do know there were sightings in West Virginia. If you could tell us exactly which Friday afternoon that was, I should probably have pulled it up from the email. But these get forwarded into a form and then sent to us, so we don't always get the exact date. But I can check, and reporting it to MUFON, fantastic. That is definitely one of the ways to go. I know a lot of MUFON guys from West Virginia aren't happy with West Virginia MUFON at the moment, but it's still the best, place to look. There are other UFO reporting sites for West Virginia. Our boys at Wild and Weird Radio, those would be guys I would reach out to. They are amazing. They have a Facebook group you could reach out to as well.
And we'll put a link in the show notes for you guys for Wild and Weird Radio, so you can reach out to them.
Glad to.
Okay, Mark.
All right. Yeah, like I said, but the Tic Tac shape, and they don't have wings. That's the big thing. No wings.
I just scrolled.
Mm-hmm.
And we got another email from our friend.
Oh no.
Yeah, I'm gonna take this one. I know we normally go back and forth, but I'm here we go.
All right. Let's do it.
Okay. I think you're missing the point of my concerns. I mean you no ill will. I'm trying to protect you from all the things best left unspoken. Keep to the hills, keep to the histories. If you dig too deep into the unknown depths of the heavens, then you are at great peril. Do not mock the dark. It is already attached to you both. You may attract the attention of things far worse than I, X.
Wow. This guy, he's a winner.
Yeah, I'm just gonna say, X, we're not mocking the dark.
No.
You keep saying things like that, but we have a genuine curiosity and interest. At the same time, we don't, and I hope listeners, you see this, we want you to make up your own minds about the stories that we hear. You know, we do believe that, as X-Files said it, the truth is out there. It's just, what is the truth? We don't necessarily know.
You even go by X, listener, so I'm sure you're dipping into that X-Files, mythology there. And, we want to talk about it all. We're not going to just stop one thing because we're interested in all of it. So yeah, we like UFOs, we like ghosts, we like monsters. There are some we like more than others. We also just like dark history and unusual things. And this is all what we're about. And so we're not mocking it. We understand you mean us no ill will. I like to hear that. That's good, especially after your previous one, which did seem a little aggressive. We're happy, that we're making a dent in this world. We're leaving our mark on the folk. We're keeping the folklore alive, gang, but we're also, hey, we're helping people reach out and contact other people. And if nothing else, that's good enough for me.
Yeah, no, exactly.
I'll do the next one. I am in need of some help. Well, see, there we go. I am currently writing a novel, and I seem to remember hearing on your show something about not leaving your shoes outside at night. I'm trying to find the story behind why you should not do this and what happens when you do. Do you know anyone that has a link to a story or can explain this to me? I would greatly appreciate it. I would like to use it in the storyline of the book I'm writing. If I remember this correctly, if you leave your shoes outside at night, something that looks like you tried to convince people inside to let you in, or it lures you out. Not sure which one it is. Not sure if it is a spirit or a shapeshifter or what it is. And if there is no folklore like this, might be a good place to start a new short story. Signed, Dia.
Oh, wow.
Dia,
wow.
Hello.
Hello.
I don't remember us talking about that, but I also don't remember a lot of things.
Does that have? I don't think that has anything to do with the Rougarou, right?
No. Now you don't leave your shoes outside at night, mostly because, particularly out west, that's where scorpions and stuff will like to crawl in to your shoes, and that's why you want to protect them. You don't want them to get stuff in them, and that actually goes back also, like medieval history. The knights always protected their shoes more than they protected their armor because they didn't want things inside them, and that's, you don't want snakes crawling up in there. You don't want other things crawling up in there that you might object to a foot suddenly coming in there.
Yeah, no, that's true. But, we just had Sally on our recent podcast and she had something knocking at the door.
That's true.
Trying to get in.
Shapeshifters and Dogman and other things like that. You've hit the nail on the head with that. So but good luck on the short story. We'd love to hear it.
Yeah, I was going to say, listeners, if you know of something that we don't know of, please share it with us. But otherwise, it sounds like an amazing story, and I hope you send it to us because I would like to read that. Now I'm never leaving my shoes outside ever again, because I feel like it's going to go left for me. So
Claudius will pick them up if you leave them inside. He'll pick them up.
Well, Claudius, if depending on the type of shoe, might even eat it. I know that.
That's true. So,
all right, I'm aware. Okay, no, that's no.
Thanks,
okay,
Dee. That was nice.
I like that. Okay, dear Mark and Erika.
Hi.
Hello. Who wins in a? Okay.
I love this one.
Oh my gosh. Who wins in a fight? Dogman, Cocaine Bear, or Mothman? This is Eric. Well, hello, Eric.
Hello, Eric. Thank you for that.
I have my vote. And I think that it is for the 15 minutes that Cocaine Bear was still alive.
It only lasted 4 minutes. So
4 minutes. For those 4 minutes, he might be the winner to me.
I think he probably was, whacked out of his mind, so he probably wouldn't have fought. Mothman, as we know, the only victim we know of Mothman, and we're not even sure it was a victim of Mothman, was Bandit, the dog. So Mothman has beaten a dog, but has Mothman beaten a dog man?
No, you have to choose one. I mean, if we're really going for viciousness, I'm going to be honest. I think it would be Dogman.
I think so too. And one of my favorites is the Dogman of Defiance in Ohio. He was so badass. He carried a stick. He carried a club. Just to beat people to death with. So so Dogman can use tools. So I would. My edge goes to Dogman in all this. I agree. Much as I love Mothman, I think Mothman's a pacifist. I think Cocaine Bear would have stoned out of his mind. So I think definitely Dogman is the winner.
I agree.
Oh my gosh. So thank you all for those questions. I think it's time for some stories. We got so many stories. So let's
try
to in here before the break. So,
okay.
Want me to do this one then?
What you can take it away.
All right. Greetings, travelers.
Greetings.
This is not my story. These experiences happened to my younger brother. This takes place 2009 and 2011. That's perfectly acceptable. So my family and I moved into a home in Oshkosh, Wisconsin. About a mile.
I know where that is because I lived in Green Lake, Wisconsin. So little holla out there. Okay.
There you go. About a mile from Lake Winnebago. The neighborhood was a U-shape with houses everywhere and a dense forest to the right that had a pond and railroad tracks cutting through. We are all convinced our home was built on indigenous land, and here's why. Well, it probably was.
My previous story about being in Green Lake, Wisconsin, and the Indian thing. I talked about that in my ghost episode. Yes, 100%. It probably was.
My brother was around 4 or 5 years old, and he started having extreme night terrors as soon as we moved in. He said these tall goats standing on 2 legs would surround him in his bedroom, then lead him to the basement where they would pounce on him and he'd wake up. He described the goats as extremely tall with long, messy hair over glowing red eyes and very sharp pointed teeth, and the horns looked more like a devil's instead of a ram. They did not wear clothes. They murmured when they spoke, so we couldn't hear what they were saying. He called them dramas. We thought he had just a vivid imagination, but he did not have these dreams anywhere outside of the house. Every single night, he would dream about them. Then he would spend the night at a friend's house across the street or the hotel my father was staying at, and he would absolutely have no dream. He was terrified to sleep at home and said it felt like they were real. He said they wanted to hurt him and our family. This happened for 3 years straight until we moved, and he'd never dreamt of them again. Now my brother is 18 and a successful young man. We still bring this up often. He's tried drawing them several times, but he says he can still remember them. He cannot, but says he can still remember them vividly. No idea where he got the name dramas from. I've showed him pictures of the goat man, and he says it looks similar, but not quite. Kind of like a mix of a goat man and a wendigo. Him and I are both firm believers of cryptids, missing 411, and other phenomena. We've lived in a house with a spirit after we moved, but this spirit was the old owner of the house, and he just liked to play harmless tricks on us. His son would come over and tell him to knock it off, and it would stop for a bit. I love that.
Me too.
We've been around friendly spirits. So what the fuck did he see when he was a kid at that house? No one else had any dreams like that, but my mom and I each have our own weird experience in that house that we can't explain. This has been a mystery in our family that will probably never be solved, but he firmly believes something sinister was trying to communicate with him. And ever since that, our life has honestly turned to shit, and we've had the worst bad luck. Any idea what this could have been? Him and I are appreciative of any response. Thank you for reading. This is not something he had seen on TV either. The only thing he watched was Disney Channel, and my parents did not watch horror movies. They didn't watch anything they deemed as inappropriate for us until we went to sleep. There were no movie trailers from that time that has these goats. He did not see these from anywhere except his dreams. He also never went into the forest. Peyton.
So, Peyton, I want to start with, we have Dave Spinks, who is an amazing friend of the show. Yeah. And I would love for you to actually send us the address of this house.
Oh, yeah.
And he's amazing. If you go back a couple of episodes, you can hear him. One of the next episodes we have coming up is with Serenity Jenny, who is a psychic and a spiritualist. I think you should reach out to her regarding the luck and the darkness that you seem like your family is taking forward from this.
Yeah, something could be attached or writing you or
yeah. Because if you feel that way, there's a degree of power that's given to something when you have those ideas. So I would heavily suggest sending us the address. We can reach out to Dave. If Dave can't do it, I know he knows people.
Teams up in Wisconsin that I know.
Yeah, but separately, I haven't heard of this, but I can see, I'm not as familiar with Native American lore, and I feel like this is probably something that goes into the Native American lore. It does sound a little bit like a Wendigo. A little bit.
Some, especially, hounding a child and all that. That, the mix of Goatman, is similar. I think this smacks of some sort of negative presence, of some sort of thing that just wants to cause misery and pain. And was even our fearmonger type thing was feeding off the fear of the child. So
exactly. And sometimes things can take forms that they believe will cause the person who's viewing, seeing, sensing them the upset. So this might have been something concocted to create that ill effect, but please send us the address. Please.
Yeah. Reach out to me if you want to keep it anonymous. That's fine too. Even if you just kind of give us the general area a little better. I mean, you've given me kind of the, what town and all that. I'm sure we can figure it out with a little bit of work, but if you can help direct, that would be amazing. And we can see if a team can get out there. Also, like I said, talk to you personally, because if this has followed you, then we need to make sure things are good where you're at. I would say Jenny or some other spiritualist might be able to help, Phyllis Azar would be.
Phyllis. Yeah. I was going to say, we have several friends. So Peyton, email us back, give us the address if you're willing to, and we will help get you to some people that are better equipped than Mark and I to assist you through this process. Because that is my guess is that there's something, not a ghost, but something else attached.
Yep. Agreed. Yeah. And wow. On that note, gang, I think we will, need a quick palate cleanser. Let's go to a commercial break, and we come back and we'll do some more of your guys's listener tales from Nightmare November.
Destiny Beard, the lyrical soprano who will haunt your dreams. With her alluring melodies and intricate harmonies, this dark siren of wistful song shall capture your soul and lead you into the night. Check out Destiny's new single, The Haunting Is Over, with international musicians Sam Haines and Gary Bennett, as well as her other musical works at destinybeard.com.
Eerie, Appalachia. Gear up for a frightful jaunt into the darkest reaches of the ancient Appalachians. Folks deep within the Appalachian hollers lean close to the campfire to share stories of the inexplicable with hushed awe. Monsters rumbling in the hills, strange lights darting through the pitch black night sky. Horrible occurrences, almost ineffable in their bizarre tragedy. Tall tales, you might say. Tell that to the Flatwoods monster in Braxton County, West Virginia, or the Goat Man of Louisville. Look into his humanoid eyes and let him know you don't believe. And what of those apparitions in Mammoth Cave's Corpse Rock, or the Satan spawn known as the Jersey Devil? How do you respond when confronted by these mysteries? From the metaphysical energy that swirls near Serpent Mound in Ohio to Point Pleasant's Mothman legacy, Mark Muncy and Carrie Schultz explore the dark history lurking in the shadows of Appalachia. Read by Mark Muncy, author and experts on strange folklore with appearances on shows such as Ancient Aliens, The Curse of Robert the Doll, and many, many more.
Okay, we're back.
We're back. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I needed a shower after that one. That one was.
That was nope. And I'm sorry you're going through that, Peyton.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Oh, Peyton, good luck. Good luck.
Yeah.
Yeah, please keep in touch. Please keep in touch.
Okay. So next one. This is from Muncy.
Hi, Mitzi.
Hi, Muncy. Several years ago, I had a roommate. She kept coming to me and saying she was hearing people talking. She said she would look outside and check to see if the TV had been left on, and nothing. She said, I don't hear it all the time. I only hear it when I'm upstairs. Normally, I would laugh and say it's an old house and the windows aren't great. Probably someone walking past the house. I hadn't heard anything, so I thought she was just hearing things. Well, one day I was upstairs, and like she said, it was like somebody having a conversation. I, too, looked for some explanation, but could find nothing. This continued for about a month. Nope. Okay, the nope hit me. I was like, I can do this. I can do this.
You were doing so good.
I was. Oh, I can already feel it coming. Okay. Okay.
Man.
Whew. Okay. Well, okay. Let's see. I too looked for some explanation, but could find nothing. This continued for about a month. Then one night at 2 a.m., exclamation mark, the loudest alarm sounded and it continued. I checked the smoke detector, ADT, nothing. Where the heck was this alarm coming from? I followed the sound and it appeared to be coming from the attic. Well, a month before, DirecTV had been in our attic running wires. Workman dropped his darn walkie-talkie. I love your show. The TV shows would have told her it was demons. See you on the other side, Mitzi. Oh,
why you always check the logical before you'd go jump into conclusions, because that would have been an interesting thing, hearing weird voices, conversations. That sounds like a miracle battery in that walkie-talkie. I want that.
Could you imagine? Oh my gosh, because they'd be calling, they'd be saying the weirdest things. It would be feeling like it was coming from everywhere.
In the wall, in your attic, because it would have been in the insulation. You would have just heard, hey, Bob, I'm coming home. All right, Frank. And you just be like, what was that? What was that?
Oh, wow. You know what I have to say, too, is, listeners, here's the thing. We love the fantastical. We love everything we hear about. We are champions of cryptids, all these things. But we will look for science first. And I think you'll hear that from a lot of our ghosts and a lot of true investigators, like ghosts, guests. Woo!
Yes.
Freudian slip there.
Some of our ghosts might go there too.
Yeah, but we want to look to make sure there isn't a scientific explanation for what is occurring before we look at the fantastical, because we're not saying it's not, and we're not going to go, oh, it has to be this, but you always want to look and check. So Muncy, thank you for that ridiculously fun story. It was really appreciated.
I love it. So if anybody has anything like that, we're happy to hear those too. So
yeah.
All right, gang. Let's see. Hey, Mark. Oh, hey. I wanted to share a story. In 1998, around September, my dad and I was coming down the Blue Ridge Parkway Mountains in Virginia, headed toward a small gas station to buy some things for us to cook, when we saw a black panther crossing in front of us. And it started changing into something else as it jumped over the rail. It was about 10 yards from the car, and I started getting nervous as my dad started slowing down. I told him to please keep going. This happened during the evening, right before the sun started going down. I don't have any photos or video of the animal, just the memory. I sometimes dream about it. I don't remember the exact road, just wondering if anybody else has heard stories or seen something similar. I always hear you say report it. So here I am reporting it. Dawn.
Well, hello, Dawn.
Hi, Dawn. Thanks so much for sharing. My goodness. So 1998, September, Blue Ridge Parkway in Virginia. Now, Blue Ridge Parkway, for those that don't know, follows the top of a bunch of mountains and like a lot of valleys. A lot of people love driving it because it is so scenic, right? So it's perfect to drive along for that. Now, black panthers, they're considered extinct in North America, right? But we get reports of them quite a bit. They are considered a cryptid up here. They are considered, they try to say, oh, it's a bobcat. Oh, it's this. But no, everybody's like, nope, solid black was not a bobcat, And the fact that you said yours started changing shape as it jumped over the railing, that reminds me of the classic Wampus cat. which is a shape-changing Native American story of a lady who witnessed a ceremony she wasn't supposed to witness and was cursed to be a shape-changing cat. And she would be and that was in that area. So, you might have gotten lucky and seen a Wampus cat. And they do have a tendency to haunt your dreams afterwards. So that would be my guess as a scientist type guess, would be that you saw a bobcat with a little extra dark fur because it was the sun going down. So it could be a lot of things, but Wampus cat is actually where my head goes with that. So
yes, no, from the stories you've told, I like that as well. Wampus cat. Well, thank you very much, Dawn.
Yeah, thanks, Dawn.
Okay, here we go. Hi, Eerie Travels team.
Hi.
Hello. Okay, this person wants to be kept anonymous, so no names, but hello, anonymous person. You'll know who you are. I saw a lot of people posting the video of the Bigfoot caught on the train camera.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
A couple months ago, that was huge. And there was a big camp that, yes, this is real. And B, no, it's the Jack's Lynx costume. And it doesn't help that train does a Bigfoot watching train, that's totally goofy. So, that one's pretty much been debunked.
It's been debunked, but I digress into the story. Okay.
Yeah. Back to the letter. Sorry.
Yes, that's okay. I don't believe it is real, and it looks nothing like the one I saw in North Georgia last year. We agree with you.
Yeah.
Funny enough, I didn't even know about the Bigfoot Museum near there until you all mentioned it on your show. We're glad we could mention it. We'll have to throw it in the show notes too. We love the Bigfoot Museum. The one I saw was while I was driving on 441, and I thought I saw a deer sprinting across the road. I slowed my rig. Oh, we're a truck driver. Okay. I slowed my rig to be safe in case there were more coming through. My headlights hit it, and chasing it was a giant Bigfoot. It was twice. I know where 441 is. This is not this close to us, Mark. Yikes. Okay, let's see. Woo. Okay, twice the size of a deer, probably 8 or 9 feet tall.
As a beast.
That's about right. It took 3 giant steps across the road and vanished right into the woods behind the deer. It had black hair, but it was moving fast. It was almost see-through. Oh, wow. Okay, I have a thought, but I'm going to continue.
Yeah, didn't this sound like Sally's story? This was when we had the interview with Sally. This was the email that I had just seen before that. So
okay, I had to do a double take, but it was already gone. I thought about stopping and looking for prints, but I didn't have anything to measure or cast them. I'm a trucker, not a Bigfoot hunter. I didn't even believe in them until this. I made a note of the time and the mile marker on my log to check the dash cam. The weird thing was that my dash cam stopped working about 5 minutes before this and after. I triple checked. I just got heebie-jeebies. Okay, there's no way to turn that off except by the boss man. We were both so sad the cam didn't catch it after I told him what we were looking for. He told me to listen to you all. Well, thank you, boss man, whoever you are.
You are the best boss ever.
You are the best boss. Okay, so I've listened to you, and you say that Bigfoot might be something not physical like a ghost. I think you're right. It was such a crazy experience. I kind of hope to try to see it again, but I'm also afraid to. I'm a believer now. My friend told me about your show and your books. I'm hooked. Keep me anonymous, as my boss doesn't want people to know. I understand. Anonymous, but I'm going to go with my vote. Mark, do you want to go first, or do you want me to?
Well, my vote is that you saw Bigfoot.
My vote is you saw a dog man.
Oh, okay. You're going dog man.
I am, only because of the nature, and not that Bigfoot can't have dark hair, but that's
it does mirror Sally's sighting quite a bit that we discussed on the dog man, where it was chasing a deer.
I don't know if Bigfoot are known for trying to corral the animals onto the road to get them as easier prey, because that's what Sally, who has a lot of experience, we're not going to use the word expert because she doesn't want it used either, but a lot of experience with this, and that's what that sounds like.
The odd thing though is the dash cam, where the dash cam stopped working for 5 minutes. And I know those rigs, those dash cams are legally required for the insurance on the rigs, and that they are literally controlled by corporate. So the fact that it was deleted before the boss man even looked at it, and he was excited to look for it too. Yeah, that's what gets me, where I'm like, okay, this might be something that may have been a little less physical.
I mean, and it's true. And we don't know what effects some of these have, because this has been part of the whole thing, is that there seems to be something around electronic fields and some of these different things. And it's even true with people who have ghost experiences and stuff. Like, they can hear something talking or whatever clear as day, but if they turn on something to record it, nothing records,
Yeah, that's what, that was my immediate thought with that, is like, but now there are, like, again, this is kind of like the UFO factions, where there's some, they're earthly, they're not earthly, and the Bigfoot community, they're flesh and blood, and then there's the ones that are like, ooh, it's a little crazy. So I think this is something that, again, is between the lines. These are things falling in the cracks, and that's why it's so difficult to get documentation and stuff on that forum. So
but thank you for telling us, and thank you for becoming a traveler.
Yeah, and hope you keep up, and maybe the boss can recommend us to some other people too. So
yeah, shout out to the boss.
Get the whole fleet listening to us. That way you guys can all talk. So you can tell them, hey, we talked about you without mentioning you by name. But
yes, as you see, you say anonymous to us, you stay anonymous to us.
My turn. Greetings, travelers. Hey, greetings,
travelers.
It took me 22 years before I saw my family's holler monster. Yay, Mark, I feel your pain about your bench leg monster. Yes. Oh, I love this letter already. Thank you so much. My family is from the backwoods near Boonesboro. Okay. We were told as kids that there was a giant monster that hides in the caves near the river near us. It was supposedly summoned by the local native Indians to attack old Fort Boonesboro because they wanted revenge on Daniel Boone. The creature was supposed to be 10 foot tall and covered in muddy fur from living in the river. It smelled like fish, as it only ate the giant catfish nearby. The creature had green glowing eyes and carried a large stump like a club. It could jump from the highest trees and then swing its club to knock you out. It was trained to fight anybody in a coonskin cap.
Wow.
I was told it had the head of an owl and the body of a giant ape. Its arms are supposed to be longer than its legs, and it could run on all fours if needed to catch you. It could also stay underwater for days waiting for prey.
Wow.
My papa said he and his brother once shot it as it chased them home with a rifle, and it didn't flinch. They only got away because they made it to the farm, and it seemed afraid of the music coming from the house. We were told to always keep the radio on at night, keep away the Boone Devil.
Ooh, I just got the... Oh, do you see the goosebumps?
Man. Yeah.
Oh.
I heard a few more stories over the years of people seeing it or it chasing cars. One story I heard from my aunt was that it grabbed her new dress that she was drying and it jumped up into a tree with it. She never saw it again. And now finally my story. In 2020, we were tired of being...
One second, Mark, before he tells his story. Have you ever heard of the Boone Devil?
I had heard a couple stories about it, but not this detailed. And it's one of those, like I said, I have never heard this variant of it.
We need to make a note of it so we can do some more research. Hopefully.
Yeah, because this is my jam. This is what I live for, is these weird monsters like this, right?
Yeah, no, absolutely.
So, look, head of an owl with the body of a giant ape. That's similar to Grafton Monster or even Mothman without the wings.
Yeah, so. You know what? He said something in this that I wanted to touch on, and then absolutely let's get to his part of the story. But it's interesting because he said the word summoned. And if we look at our thoughts about there being multiverses, right?
Right.
Where things are different in different verses, it just leads down to, like, could you summon something from another dimension, universe, whatever, to bring it over? Because it could be something from over there that's not here normally, and they, through whatever rituals, managed to bring it over. It's just an interesting thought to have.
This is reminding me of a Manitou story I heard once, and I did, and Daniel Boone supposedly once met, as we've discussed, he's a big teller of tall tales, people say, but he says he fought some of these crazy creatures and things like that, he killed the Yahoo, right? We discussed that and everything. So Boon Devil, I like the name, and I like that it chases people with coonskin caps.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's a fad that needed to go away faster than it did. So
well, and it's very interesting because it appears to have been brought for a specific purpose, and then unfortunately, cool, you brought it for that, but you didn't quite resolve what to do when you didn't need it anymore, which is, I feel, the beginning of most horror stories. So anyway, okay, continue on.
In 2020, we were tired of being locked up due to COVID. So my sister and I went out into the woods behind the house just to get some air. It was early April and it was a nice spring day. She wanted to go to the creek nearby the barn and I followed her. We got there and heard a strange bellow like a lion. I thought someone must have a big cat as a pet like Tiger King nearby. And it echoed all the way here.
Oh my God, I love that.
That's a logical thing to think. I know some people who do that. Yeah. Then I turned to see if my sister had heard it. She was standing frozen like a deer caught in headlights. I went towards her and I could smell dead fish. I knew what I was about to experience and I froze just like her. It was climbing up the big tree near the forest line. It was huge and covered with brown fur. I thought this must be a monkey or a gorilla. And then it turned its head and glowing red eyes looked right at me. My sister whispered, "It looks like Mothman," just as it jumped to the next tree and then another. And in a second, it was gone deep into the forest. We felt like the spell was broken and we both screamed and ran back home. I didn't even try to get a picture because we were so scared. When we got home, we told our parents what we saw. They said it was the Boon Devil. I suddenly realized all the stories made sense. So here I am telling you, should I report it to a Bigfoot page, a cryptid page, or a ghost page? Thanks for sharing so many stories on your show and in your book. It made me happy to share mine, Lawrence. Wow.
Holy. Lawrence, we're going to be reaching out to you because we're going to have to investigate this further.
And anybody else who knows anything about the Boon Devil, please reach out to us because this alone sounds like a new chapter in a new book or definitely.
Well, we are working on our surprise projects coming up that we're going to announce.
Boonesboro is definitely on the list now. Yeah. So what did you see? I think you saw your family monster. Is it a gorilla? It acted like one, but I don't know gorillas that sound like lion roars.
Well, the interesting part is the smelling, but this could be kind of a variation on because Mothman is supposed to really, honestly, outside of the wings, look like a Sasquatch. I mean, he does.
Yeah, with a sunken head and big red eyes. This is like a tree climbing Mothman or Grafton monster. They're all in that area. So this is we've got the stump jumpers and all them. They're like smaller versions of this. This sounds like a big one. So
he asked where to report it though. So where are you thinking he should report it?
I think again, Bigfoot page, good place to report. Reporting it to us is great because I'm going to share it with a couple teams in that area, see if they know anything about it. I would recommend, you asked about cryptid pages or ghost pages. There are quite a few Facebook pages out there that all those would be possible ones. If you don't mind, you remember when you report to a basic page, sometimes you're going to get some trolls. But for the most part, people interested in this and they're a part of those groups really want to discuss these things. So you will probably find you'll have a lot more people liking this and wanting to talk about this than people wanting to poo-poo it and talk down to you. I think this is definitely the way I would go.
And Lawrence, we will be reaching out because I believe on one of mine and Mark's journeys, we're going to need to come see what you're talking about. We're going to go
that area exactly. That would be fantastic. And again, we have teams in that area that would love to look into that.
So that's exciting. Thank you, Lawrence.
Yeah, thank you so much. That's exactly what we want, people. Yes, give us more of that. So
yes. Okay. Here we go. My wife and I had a run. This is an anonymous one. Okay. So my wife and I had a run-in with what I can only describe as a dire wolf tonight. Ooh. So we should probably explain what a dire wolf is.
They are from history. They were not invented by fantasists. They were large wolves. They were some of the early mammals of our historical record. They were, I would say, about as big as a mastiff, maybe a little bigger. They're pretty big. They're bigger than a normal wolf, which wolves are pretty darn big. We just got our pictures with one out at that recent convention.
Yeah, no, I think the whole thing about dire wolves at a time was people even said that you could potentially ride them as a mount.
Yeah, that's
keeping
how big
in mind people were
small
much
horse.
Tinier than we are now.
Yeah, so small horse. Yeah, archaeologically, they were supposedly still living in Europe and Africa until almost modern time.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's go back to this letter.
Okay, so back to the story. Here we go. And I don't mean some Game of Thrones stuff. I mean archaeological record. Okay.
Like we just discussed. Yep.
Yeah. So we were driving home through Eastern North Carolina. Thank you for being on the other side of the state. That was my add-in. And it darted out in front of our car and onto the side road where I got a good look at it in profile. I was wearing my night driving glasses, so I didn't see coloration, but my wife said it looked tan like a deer with a lighter belly. And at that size, that's what my first thought was. But deer don't have long tails. And the profile view I had as I drove by was absolutely canine. And living in the woods here all my life, I know it wasn't a bear of any kind. I just want to share somewhere that this happened. Thank you for sharing that with us. And want you to invite anyone who might have had a similar encounter to share their story. Absolutely, they should share their story. Also, I don't want to say any more detail on where it was sighted. If I saw what I think I saw, I don't want any trigger-happy idiots looking for a trophy. Anonymous by request.
Yeah.
I appreciate that because I don't want that either.
Yeah, no, none of us want that.
Dire wolf, Mark, man.
Yeah, now Eastern North Carolina, my immediate thought is there's an old legend out there, and it's in our new book coming up. It's called The Beast of Bladenboro, and it was a giant wolf-like dog that was vampiric, and it would drain the blood out of everything it killed instead of eating them. It would literally just lash into their flesh with almost kind of like Dungeons and Dragons style displacer beast where it had the tentacles.
Oh, yeah.
It's something like that where it had things that came off its back and would latch on to the creature as if the four paws weren't big enough, and it's giant. And then it would drain the blood of the creature and then bound off. So that's the folklore monster in that area. And that's awfully similar to that. Dire wolves, yes, we get lots of stories of people seeing large dogs that are impossibly large and are loose in the woods. And coyotes, dogs, and wolves can intermingle and create larger versions of themselves. And so they can get surprisingly big. And wolves are giant if you've ever actually seen one. They do get big. Now, the dire wolves in Game of Thrones are even bigger and bigger. This could be a very large dog or wolf. I would like to know exactly where. I know for reasons you don't want to put that in, but it would be nice to see because we've heard stories like that, very similar.
So very cool. That sounds like a really cool thing you got to see, and thank you for sharing that with us. Yes. We love that you shared it with us.
Yeah, that was fantastic. I guess this is the last one, Erika.
The last one, but man, these have been amazing.
These have been really good. Thank you, gang, so much for sharing these. Oh my gosh. All right. So I live in a very active area in Northeast Texas. It began shortly after we moved in April 2017 and continues to this day. We found multiple tracks of various sizes from 23 inches to 19 inches and a few 13 to 14 inches. We've heard what sounds like the call of a large elk, several howls that turn to screams, then roars that will vibrate your insides, all in what seems like one giant breath. We've had something hit the side of our mobile home and shake the whole place, only to rush outside and find nothing. We've set out a game camera to no avail. Once we captured a shadow just outside of the light and thought we could see the occasional eye shine like the entity was blinking. Another time we had something come just behind the camera and growl in a long, low, menacing growl. We've had several dogs come up missing. I've found a footprint by the creek bank that looked human except it was narrow and the toes ended in claws. This print has puzzled me for 5 years, as it was the only one we found at that time. It is clearly not the print of a Sasquatch known to be in these woods. Dave.
Wow, David. Thank you.
Yeah, it definitely sounds like you were in a very active area in Northeast Texas.
Oh, yes, it does. Yes, it does. What I'd be curious to know, David, is have you had any Bigfoot hunters, and when I say hunters, I always mean the people looking for evidence from a scientific standpoint, to this area? And if not, would you be open to it? Because if you'd be open to it, we have some friends.
Oh yeah, we've got connections. We've got teams that would be happy to head out there to try to document. It sounds like you've seen multiple tracks. I'll reach out and see if you've got, like some pictures you want to share of the tracks or anything. Now, the call that sounds like a large elk that turns to a scream and then a roar, and it literally shakes you. We've heard that. That's a common sound that people associate now with Bigfoot, because it literally is almost like an infrasound. It shakes you to your core. It's this big rumble, deep rumble. It's crazy. Yeah, that's not uncommon. Now, the fact that something hit the side of your home and shook the whole home, that's scary. That's scary. Anything that hits the house, I understand your fear there. So now trail cams, they're hit or miss at best. I mean, so even the best ones on the market have trouble getting a possum that's right in front of them. So yeah, we love trail cams, but we also know they are what they are.
No, it's true. And aren't Sasquatch known for throwing things?
Throwing things and trying to chase you out of their territory. So
yeah, that's what it kind of sounds like.
Yeah, this also sounds a little aggressive. So that concerns me. Now, the long, footprint, very long, thin, with narrow toes, that suddenly makes me lean more Dogman.
Well, what's interesting? So I thought Dogman when I heard that too. And then that makes me wonder if this family's in the middle of a territory dispute.
Oh, that's quite possible. In Northeast Texas, you got both. Like he says, he knows it's in a Sasquatch area. But yeah, I think maybe you got other things going on. You're not too awful far from certain tribal monsters out in that area too. So
yeah,
I would be definitely on my toes. Sounds like you are. I'm sorry you lost a few dogs, but please reach out to us. Let us know who we can send out to help, and to document.
We would love to have that, and we would love to see any photos.
Yeah, if you don't want to do that, you don't want to draw that much attention to the area and all that, you can definitely report anonymously. Yeah, and you don't even have to put the exact location; just put something near it. We just had literally today, the BFRO had a sighting that was in Gainesville. And they didn't want to put exactly where in Gainesville, Florida. So they just put Gainesville, and we know it was on the outskirts, but that's all we need to know. But that,
totally. And if you do share it with us, we would literally only share it with who you approved us to share it with, hunter wise, because we don't want people's personal spaces invaded. I mean, they are homes. That's not worth it. So
no. And you don't, we're not going to record the next episode of Skinwalker Ranch on your house. But
absolutely not. Don't get me started on that. We're going to do an episode at some point, but
David, thank you so much for reporting that. And all of you listeners, thank you so much. Fellow travelers, thank you so much for sharing these with us and sharing these with the other listeners, because these are amazing.
Yes.
And this is what we do it for. I am super excited to look up the Boone Devil and see what I can find.
I'm super excited. I hope we get to go to where this is. It would be my first exploration into some of these holler monsters.
Into a holler monster. Cool. Yeah, exactly. That'll be fun. We'll take you along, and we will of course take you along, listeners. So as always, please do the things like, share, subscribe that everybody says. It really does make all the difference. Turn on that little bell to get those notifications. That really helps. Set on the auto downloads. That way, when you are driving to these places that are out of the way, you don't lose signal and you don't lose the episode. You can keep listening, because as we drive around to some of these hollers, sometimes the signal goes out and I'm in the middle of a podcast and I go, oh, I forgot to download this one. So so do that yourselves. And Paranormality Magazine again. You can go visit them. Please vote for us for their top 10 podcasts. And if you use the code TRAVELS while you're there, get yourself something nice. They'll give you 10% off, and that'll let them know we sent you. And Erika,
Absolutely.
you have anything else to say about these letters?
No, I just want to say the same thing. I love getting them. I love that people share their stories with us, and I love that people feel safe in sharing their stories. Please, if you don't want us to mention your name, we will never mention your name. These are thoroughly entertaining. They also freak me out. So we get a combination of both aspects. So listeners, thank you for giving me a range of emotional responses.
Oh, yes.
And sometimes physical responses to your stories. Mark can tell you from being around me, my goosebumps will go through the roof and I get freaked out. So,
oh man. And she's got that involuntary, when you kind of laugh when you're scared. I love that when you do that. So.
Oh, yes. Laughing while I'm terrified. I hear some of these stories and I'm like, nope, burn the house down. Move it on.
Nuke the site from orbit. It's the only way to be sure. So, but gang, thank you so much for everything. This has been a crazy year. Nightmare November still going on. And we're getting ready for the long, dark nights of December coming up. This has been an incredible journey. Thank you, Daylight Savings Time, for letting us have sunset while I'm having lunch. And when you're out there at night, gang, and you hear whistling in the woods, make sure you bring your shoes inside because you don't want scorpions or anything to get them. And be careful of the Boon Devil. And as always, check your attic for leftover walkie-talkies from DirecTV installers. And with that, gang, we'll see you on the other side.